10 stocks to watch next week. What is happening, investors? It is your boy Jack. I am not a financial advisor. The merch is coming very soon. Very soon. I just ordered samples. Today we are looking at 10 stocks, okay? You're all more than likely aware it's earnings season. Lots of Q2 earnings are coming out next week and the week after. So today I have 5 companies who I am going to be keeping a close eye on, whose earnings come out at some stage next week. I have 3 companies whose earnings come out in 2 weeks time, so I want to see if anything really happens with them next week in anticipation of the earnings. And I just have 2 very interesting companies that I want to keep an eye on in general, so that's what we're going to be speaking about today. Now, if you haven't seen one of these videos before, we do them every single Saturday. I go through everything very quickly because, I mean, we're speaking about 10 companies. Obviously, we're not going to be going in depth on each one, or the video will be about 4 days long. But the goal is just to put some companies on your watch list for the following week, you know, so that you can keep an eye on them. You can go and do some research into them. And with earnings coming out in the next week or two, it's very important to keep an eye on, you know, companies who you have positions in or you are looking to open a position in. So we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get straight into the video. But first, can I please ask you to drop a like on this video? It would mean so much to me. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know what stocks you are looking at next week in particular, you know, whether it's for earnings or another reason. And please do hit that juicy red subscribe button if you're new around here. The family is growing more and more every single day. I appreciate you all and your support so much. With that being said, let's get into our very first company of today. So the very first company we're going to be having a look at is Coca-Cola, one that I'm sure you're all familiar with. A dividend king, okay, with a dividend yield of 3.5%, who has actually been underperforming as of late. On the 6-month chart, Coca-Cola is still down 22.14%, so it's been a terrible performance. So Coca-Cola's earnings are coming out pre-market on the 21st of July, or on Tuesday. So what do we expect from these earnings? Well, oftentimes we compare Pepsi and Coca-Cola quite closely. It's something I've done in the past a few times. I've always actually thought Pepsi was the better company, and they are outperforming Coca-Cola by far as of right now. Pepsi did beat estimates, okay? They bet their EPS and they bet their revenue estimates. So all in all, they had a good second quarter. One of the main reasons I've personally preferred Pepsi compared to Coca-Cola in general is the fact that Pepsi are in snacks alongside beverages. Coca-Cola is just in beverages. And we can see that from Pepsi's Q2 earnings, they reveal a stark drop in beverage demand that nonetheless implies some brighter news for Coca-Cola's oncoming report. Its drink volume contracted by 11% compared to a 7% increase in the prior quarter. The CEO and his team blamed slumping customer traffic at places like convenience stores, theaters, and gas stations for the drop. Coke's last update showed a 25% slump in early April, and Pepsi's report suggests that trends didn't stay that low for long. So Pepsi's flat organic sales for the quarter as overall revenue edged down by just 3%, and this because of their wider portfolio, like I just said, being in beverages and snacks. Coke, in contrast, is expected to announce an over 25% revenue drop in its Tuesday report, so things are expected to be very poor. I am invested in Coca-Cola. It's a very small position, so honestly I'm not too worried about what happens at all, but I will be keeping an eye on them just to see how things are looking going forwards. I mean, it just has been such a poor performance in general. If this quarter earning doesn't go better than expected, it could really hurt the company further and just prolong this recovery. Okay, we move on to Wednesday. On Wednesday after hours, Tesla is announcing their quarterly earnings, and I'm sure at this stage everybody is aware of why this is so important to us investors. If Tesla has a profitable next quarter, that will be 4 in a row where they have made profit, which will potentially mean they will get included in the S&P 500, which could be massive for the stock price both in the short and long term going forwards. Now, Tesla I would expect to be extremely volatile next week regardless of what happens. If things go well, I definitely expect a big push to the upside. If things go bad, I think it's going to be very bad. I am a brand new Tesla investor. I own half a share. I am very interested in what is going to happen, so I will be watching this one like a hawk. But if we beat estimates, if we get that 4th quarter profit, which we are expected to do, oh, is it going to be good? So if you look into this, some analysts are projecting a loss, some are projecting a profit. I think from the information we have, from the sales numbers we can see, I would personally expect a profit. I'm hopeful as well that we do see a profit. Look, there's no point in speculating, there's no point in looking into it too much. What happens is already set in stone. It's just a matter of time before we hear what has actually happened. But you bet I'll be keeping a very close eye on these guys, and I'm sure I'll be giving you guys an update video sometime next week, probably Wednesday. Okay, and the next company who's reporting their earnings on Wednesday is Microsoft. So same as Tesla, it's on Wednesday. It is after hours though. Now, Microsoft has performed absolutely fantastically, okay? On the 6-month chart, up over 21%. Fantastic. During this quarter, Microsoft announced acquisition deals, including CyberX, ADRM software and Metaswitch networks in a bid to strengthen cloud-based capabilities and aid enterprises to accelerate digital transformation. In my eyes, they're in a fantastic position to grow. It looks, from what we can tell, to have been a good quarter. They've shown that they can grow. I expect it to be a very good earnings report. And these were one of the companies I bought this week as well. I just picked up one more share. Another thing about Microsoft though is just when you look at the growth, it is constant and it is fast and it's aggressive, and there are very few considerable dips involved. And their Azure, their cloud-based technology, that is more than likely just going to keep propelling them forwards and forwards at an even faster rate. We all know how big cloud is getting right now. This is one I don't think is going to get too volatile. I don't think it's going to necessarily jump up or down, but I do want to keep an eye on them just in case, because if there is a considerable pullback, if we do see it fall below $200, which could very easily happen before these earnings come out, I may be inclined to pick up even a little bit more. Okay, the fourth company is Thursday, and that is Amazon, and we don't know what time they're reporting just yet. Now, it's been a pretty crazy month for Amazon to say the least, okay? On the monthly chart, they went up over 20%, but since then they have fallen down. They're only up 11.6% on the month, with a dip of 7.5% essentially from their tops. So you're all probably aware they smashed through the $3,000 mark, proceeded to go up over $3,200 a share, and now they're coming back down just below that $3,000 mark. Now, Amazon to me just seems completely and utterly unstoppable at this stage. I mean, what they're doing is crazy. Their prospects going forwards are crazy. It's amazing. The thing about their next quarter's earnings is, okay, Jeff Bezos, after their Q1 earnings, has came out and said that pretty much all of the profit that comes from Amazon's Q2 is going to be basically invested on battling this crisis. You know, he's increased his employees' wages, he's had to spend lots of money on PPE, ensuring that everything that goes through Amazon is safe for everybody. So that's where all of the profit from this quarter is going, essentially, and maybe even a little bit more. Now, I don't think that's going to have the biggest effect on people whatsoever. I personally think it's a good thing, especially for the long-term outlook of the company. I mean, the last thing Amazon wants is a load of lawsuits because they didn't do enough to protect both employees and consumers from the virus. But it will be very interesting, to say the least, on how these quarter's earnings come out. Now look, I could see a couple of different scenarios playing out here. I could definitely see the pullback continue to come down a little bit more. I mean, it just has been absolutely immense growth. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Or I could see a good quarter's earnings and a lot of people want to continue the rally, get involved, buy more shares, and just push that stock's price up higher. We just have to wait and see what happens. Okay, and the last company we're looking at again is on Thursday. It is AT&T, and they are going to be announcing their quarter's earnings pre-market. So AT&T, a very, very popular dividend stock. Right now with dividend yield of nearly 7%. Not a lot happened with these guys. I mean, their crash wasn't that bad, it was 30%, but as of right now, they're still down 21.5%, so the recovery has been very, very slow. As of right now, there are analysts out there, okay, who expect AT&T to beat their earnings estimates, which, you know, in general, will make a stock price go up in some degree. And to be honest, it would not surprise me at all if it did go up a considerable amount. I mean, the recovery so far has just been so slow. Now, they are expected to deliver a year-over-year decline in earnings on lower revenues when it reports results for the quarter ended. But I mean, the large majority of companies are. What really matters if they beat those estimates. That's the main thing. I do think AT&T could be a bit of a dark horse though. I wouldn't be surprised if volume goes up big time and if we see some actual considerable moves that we haven't seen for a long time. It is, as I said, a very, very popular dividend stock, and dividend investors are some of the investors who like buying the heaviest when they think a stock is at a discount. And when we look at the 5-year chart at $30, I think a lot of people may still consider this company to be discounted at these price points, especially with things like, you know, up and coming 5G launches. A lot of things could go well for AT&T down the line. But they are the 5 companies whose earnings come out next week that I will be keeping a close eye on. Now we have 5 more companies. Okay, we'll have a little bit of a break from companies who, you know, we're waiting to see their earnings reports, and we're going to have a look at Virgin Galactic, a company I just uploaded a full video on earlier on today. So a lot of people speaking about this company because on Friday we went up 14.14%, and on Thursday they went up nearly 20% before closing the day up nearly 14%. So across the span of 2 days, nearly a 30% gain for this company right here. That is crazy. Now, why I'm keeping an eye on them next week? Simply put, I mean, you know, that was a lot of price action. One of the biggest reasons this happened was because they got a new CEO. It is no longer George T. Whitesides. As of July 30th, it will then be Michael Colglazier, who is the CEO of the company. He brings more than 3 decades of experience developing and growing consumer-oriented multi-billion-dollar businesses, including the Walt Disney company. A lot of people were clearly very happy to see this information, and thus the stock price jumped up. $19 to $20 a share historically has been a relatively tough price point for SPCE to break through, and now they've just absolutely smashed through it up to $24 a share. There's also a lot of people short in SPCE right now, so we could be in for a short squeeze if this momentum by the buyers can continue to push the stock price up. I just think it's a very exciting company to be in and watching right now. So I'll be keeping a very close eye on them next week just to see if, some sort of a pullback does happen or if we keep going up. It's all going to be very interesting regardless. And ultimately, I do want to get more shares in this company. I'm in right now with 25 shares. I'm up 50% on my cost basis. So, if I get a considerable pullback, I'll consider buying more. But just a very, very exciting company right now. Okay, and another very exciting company. We have Workhorse, another company I uploaded a video on just yesterday. But these guys... Man, I'm probably more excited about these guys than any other company right now. I went ahead and picked up a considerable amount more shares this week. I think I now have 37 shares in the company. But long story short, there is a USPS contract going now for approximately $6.3 billion. There are 4 companies left in the bidding process for this, and that bidding process actually closed last week. We're just waiting for it to be announced. Now, we're not sure when that is. A lot of people are speculating September, October, but we're not sure. For a small company like Workhorse, that would be absolutely insane. And if you want to know why I think that they will get that contract, or at least a substantial portion of it, do just go watch that full video after this one. All in all, just a very, very exciting company. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on these guys constantly going forwards until I know what's happening with this USPS contract. I could see these guys moving very similarly to how Virgin Galactic have done very soon. But right now, it is a high risk company. There is a lot of speculation involved. A lot of things could go wrong, and in the short term, the stock price could come crashing down, very conceivably more than 50%. In the long term though, I do still think that even without that USPS contract, they have so much potential. They're offering a service that nobody else really is. I love them. Now we have 3 more companies whose earnings come out the week after next. So, just keep a little bit of an eye on them next week. See if any important news comes out. See what happens. So in 2 weeks time, there's actually a lot of different companies that I am very interested in releasing their earnings. But for today, the first company we'll speak about is Facebook, one of my babies, still the biggest position in my portfolio. Their earnings come out July 29th of a Wednesday after hours. 6-month chart, Facebook's up nearly 10%. Decent. So in regards to Facebook right now, not a lot of prominent news except for the ad boycott, but the ad boycott quite clearly didn't hurt them very much. There was this initial dip of nearly 10%, but they recovered and then some. They're just one of these companies. They've shown time and time again how resilient they are, how easily they can adapt to pretty much any given situation. They have one of the best balance sheets in the world. TikTok, you're all probably more than aware who TikTok are. It would not surprise me one bit if Facebook comes along and tries to sweep up this up and coming social media app. And we have seen Facebook pick up these up and coming social media apps in the past. Specifically, we can speak about Instagram. Okay, Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion back in, I believe, 2012. And now Instagram is worth more than $100 billion. We have seen them buy these up and coming social media platforms before and make a lot of money on them. Facebook owns the 4 most downloaded apps of the decade right now. That's Facebook, Facebook Messenger, Instagram and WhatsApp. They clearly like owning the big apps, and it wouldn't surprise me. I know it's speculation at this point, complete and utter, but it's something I will be keeping an eye on because it wouldn't surprise me if they try to take it over. But anyway, Facebook is just my baby. I love them to pieces. I will always buy them. I think that they have a very bright future ahead of them. Okay, the next one is Google, and they are coming out after hours on Thursday. So 6-month chart, right? Google is barely up. They're pretty much at break even, which, don't get me wrong, isn't bad at all considering the times that we're in, but I personally think they believe to, be up more than that. We all use Google services every single day of our lives. You're all using one right now, YouTube. And this is one of the big things. Alphabet, as much as it has rallied, it's up 50% from March lows. It's actually been lagging behind the other mega cap tech stocks. The likes of Netflix, Microsoft, Amazon, even Facebook, they've all just destroyed Google. And I don't think it's justified. I do think that they should have gone up more. And as well, in my eyes, it's a little bit safe, if you want to get into some of these big tech companies, but you think a lot of them are overvalued, which I completely understand. The downside for Google at this price shouldn't be near as much as a lot of the other big tech giants, in my opinion. So again, I just want to see if anything comes out next week. I want to see if there's any news. I want to see if I want to add to my position, because for me right now, they're still one of my smallest holdings in my big tech stocks. Now, they're still one of my biggest holdings overall in the portfolio, but I do want to add to them. I want to see what happens next week. And the final company we're having a look at is Apple. And again, their earnings come out Thursday week, July 30th. in the after hours. So 6-month chart, Apple has done fantastically, up 21.7%. The 5-year chart up 210%. There are a lot of analysts out there who still see higher highs being made for Apple, and I must say I most definitely do as well. I think they have a lot of room to run higher in all honesty. Two analysts recently slapped $450 of a 12-month price target on Apple stock. They are currently at $385, and their rally from the bottom up 70% has been insane to say the least. Now Apple is one of my favorite stocks. I think they're my second biggest holding right now, just barely behind Facebook. So we should go without saying that I am a butt on them, and I do agree they have a lot more room to rise up. Apple's services and wearables, home and accessory segments saw revenue rise 16% and 41% year over year respectively in 2019. Growth in Apple's wearables business slowed down during the second fiscal quarter after supply challenges and store closures. You're all more than likely aware of all this, and reduced consumer spending. But Apple's wearables, home and accessory segment still managed to grow 23% year over year during that period. During that period of all periods, I mean, that's a lot. It's also relatively expected that in September Apple is going to launch their first 5G compatible iPhone. And of course that will only propel the stock's price up further. It's all just a lot of very exciting stuff. So they've performed absolutely fantastically the last couple of years. Even this year, despite how tough things got, it's been overall a good performance. They've made very nice new highs, and they show no reason that they should have to slow down. It's just another one that I will be keeping a close eye on, because even though they are the second biggest holding in my position, I do want to get more at a good price. And they are the 10 stocks to watch next week, people. So guys, there we have it. 10 companies that I will be keeping a very close eye on going into next week, a lot of which for earnings reasons and some just because they're exciting. Please do remember that going into earnings now, these can be very volatile times, so just make sure that if you're investing in any companies in the near future to always do your research, do your due diligence, and be confident in any investments you make. You don't want to have to feel that constant feeling of anxiety investing in a company. There more than likely will be some companies that make massive moves both to the up and the downside, so just do be aware of that and try not to panic when it happens. Do your research and you're going to be confident in the investments that you make. But anyway guys, if you did watch until the end of the video, I appreciate you so much. You are a true legend and you are really helping this channel out, so thank you. I hope that you all have an absolutely fantastic day. I will catch you for tomorrow's videos. There will be 2 videos tomorrow. Have a great day, people. Peace.